Okay, day 4, Romford Film Festival, and I'm here with Paul Stainthorpe.
Hello.
Hello, Paul.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming. We're here to talk to you about your short film and also your feature documentary. If you'd like to just tell everyone the titles of them first of all.
The short film is called Better Than Neville You Know.
Yep.
And the documentary is called Big Smooth.
Fantastic. Let's, well, first of all, first question. Which do you prefer making? Do you prefer making fiction in short form or documentary in long form?
That's a really good question. That documentary took a lot out of me.
Okay.
It was 3.5 years of my life.
Okay.
The pandemic was right in the middle of it, so it took a lot. And because of the topic and just the nature of the project, it took a lot out of us. So I think I'm probably going to park documentary for a bit and concentrate more on narrative, fictional work.
I know your films from short narrative fiction. Have you made a lot of documentaries before, or is this your first one?
I made a couple of historical documentaries local to the area.
Yep.
I'm from Durham.
Yep.
And as we've just seen, Neil was from Durham.
Yep.
It's amazing what's on your doorstep.
Yeah,
you don't have to go very far. So that's all I've done really. I always look at those projects as, that's where I was learning a lot of things, learning about editing and storytelling, and that was where I did my groundwork.
Let's talk about the short first of all then. How did you come up with the concept?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
You know what, I had this idea about a decade ago. I don't know if you can remember, there was a trailer of Mrs. Doubtfire did the rounds.
Right.
And it went viral because it was all about how you take a family fun film and cut it and apply music in a sinister way and turn it into a bit of like a horror film. Right. So I remember watching that and just thinking, that's actually a pretty good idea.
I haven't seen that trailer. I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah.
Wow. And that was the concept?
That was basically it.
Okay. How did you cast the short? And what kind of person were you, what kind of actors were you looking for? And had you worked with them before? Yeah,
well, the idea, because really, really low budget. I think we had like $2,000 to make it, which is just crazy. And it was quite adventurous, and casting was obviously, was like high up, like in terms of like my priorities with a film. It's like story, casting, and everything sort of trickles from that. Yeah. Now, I really struggled to cast the lead in that, but then I worked with Craig in a film that was screened here last year called Burnt Toast and Cigarettes. Yep. And Craig Conway was in that. So I worked with him in that, and I thought, you could be the man for the job. And so he read an early draft of the script, liked it, and the rest is history. Yeah.
And your other characters around him?
Yeah, so really Craig was the first person that we cast, and then it was a case of, right, who do we see him with, like in terms of his partner, his wife. And then it was the girl on the bench, and then the thug that comes in, and so it was from Craig really that we started casting the others.
Yeah. Funding. I mean, you can tell me, how do you do your funding? Are you self-funded?
Self-funded, and there's a couple of people that just support me and my. Right. In case of this short, it was a crazy idea, but just like I say, very low budget. I think we had like $2,000 for that short, which is like crazy, but I'm happy with how it looks, and the response has been pretty good from it. Yeah, it's a proof of concept.
Right. I'm hoping that was going to be my question.
I'll let you ask.
Yeah. So obviously at the end, there's a shot where it kind of reveals that there might be much more to this story, basically. Yeah. So is there going to be more to the story?
I hope so. Yeah. I just need somebody to stump up a lot of money.
Okay.
We don't really need a lot of money, $100,000. If there's anybody watching, $100,000, that would be lovely.
100. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. And the aim is to make a feature or a series of shorts?
A feature.
Okay.
Feature film.
Yeah.
The short really acts as the sort of intro to the feature, and then it would the vision as it sort of flashes back, and then we fill in the blanks, as to how they got there.
Have you made fiction features before?
No.
Okay.
No. This is hopefully what's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've got a couple of other ideas bubbling away.
Have you sort of started looking for people to back it? How do you go about that?
I don't know.
No. You've just got this now.
Yeah. I've got this now. I've got a pitch deck.
Okay.
I'm just hoping that somebody sees it and sees potential in it, and gives us an opportunity.
Yeah. Have you played it to other festivals yet?
So it's only just started its run, and this has never happened before on Film Freeway. Okay. It's 3 out of 3.
Right. Okay.
So we
100% successful.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's only going to go downhill from now, isn't it?
Don't know. You never know. 3 out of 3 is a good start.
Yeah. Well, it screened in Wolverhampton and up in Sunderland, which is right next door to Durham.
Yeah.
But yeah, look great. Look great up there as well.
Yeah. How does it feel to see your film up there? Is there things that you think, I wish I could change that, or are you very proud of it as well?
I nitpick.
Yeah.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's some, I always think with all the films, when you watch them back, you can sort of see some good moments, but unfortunately the not bad moments, but the bits that I was never happy with are even bigger now.
Amplified?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's turn it into a positive then. What parts of the short are you really proud of?
I think the ending's really strong.
Yeah. That reveal?
Yeah. I think, the makeup took about 3 hours, and we only had one camera, so we only had one take.
Chance. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's a challenge then.
Yeah.
Were there any other challenges apart from that you kind of encountered?
Well, it just again budget. Budget dictates schedule. Yeah. And then I think we had 2 days on that short, so it's about 16, 17 minutes. So we covered a lot. But yeah, I mean, going back to what you were saying, I am proud of it. I think there's some strong performances. Yeah. Chris Taylor did an excellent job with a screenplay. And yeah, I thought the actors they put in some strong performances. Yeah. And Marco Belloni, who was in the audience tonight, he's a composer.
It's the same shirt on as me.
Is it the same shirt?
I think so.
Come and sit down. Come and sit down next to him, Marco.
Yours is a slightly bigger check.
So Marco did the music on the short and also the documentary.
Ah, great. Nice segue, by the way. So let's talk about the documentary. Big Smooth. How did you find this really fascinating subject that I didn't know anything about him? I mean, obviously from your local area. How did you actually hear about it in the first place?
So, I'm taking you back here. I was 16 years old. Okay. And I was obsessed with basketball.
Oh, okay. Right.
I was in Durham playing basketball with a couple of friends, and we were pissing and moaning. I'm allowed to swear. Yeah. We were pissing and moaning because there were only 3 of us, and we needed one more person.
Yeah. To play 2 on 2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've got it. And
played a bit in my time.
In the distance, we heard a basketball, so we were all getting excited. We're like, what's going on? Yeah. And we looked in the distance, and I wasn't sure if there was like this weird perspective thing going on. Yeah. But I was like, I'm sure that fence was higher than that. I'm sure those bushes were higher than that. And then we found out obviously it was Neil, but Neil came and onto the basketball court, and then we looked up and we just thought, no, he's actually just really, really tall. Yeah. And so we asked if he wanted to play. We played a game of 2 on 2. We absolutely stuffed us. He was dunking on us and blocking us and all that. But great experience. But despite being 16 all those years ago, I just remember how humble he was, how good he was, but how quiet and humble he was. And just that thought really of, not judging a book by its cover. You can't help being taken back by how
Mm.
tall someone is, but then
That's right.
spend a bit of time with him and you
Yeah.
just like everybody else.
That's right.
Except he's not.
Right.
He's a very unique man.
Yeah.
You know, and as we've just seen in the documentary, he was just very, very unique,
Yeah.
you know.
So you were 16 at that time. How old was he? Was he older than you?
He was
younger?
15.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so I think,
Very similar age.
I think Neil was a year younger. I heard shortly after that he'd gone to the States.
Mm.
I didn't know anything about the film and TV.
Okay.
I just heard that he'd passed.
Uh,
And then I think just started making films then.
mhm.
And it was always a project that I wanted to make.
Okay. I was going to ask if you were aware of him, like all the way through, up until that point.
Yeah, so
Right.
it was just really the basketball.
Mm.
But I approached Neil's family
Okay.
just to get their blessing, you know.
Yeah.
That was important
Mhm.
to me to get that.
Yeah.
And, you know, like we would be,
Mm.
well, what's the documentary, what's it about, why do you want to do it, what's it
Yeah.
going to look like, you know, they had
Yeah.
reservations.
Mm.
And I totally understand that and respect that. So I just taught them through my vision of, you know, and hopefully this comes across, the film's not about Neil's height,
Mm.
it's about him as a
Oh, yeah,
person, you know.
absolutely, yeah, that comes through, absolutely. How did you decide on your talking heads, the people that you invited to talk about him?
It's a shame Jason had to go because Jason was in it, but we interviewed, I'm going to say 48 people.
Wow.
This was here in the UK and in the US. And really, it was just an audition process.
Mm.
You know, who could capture people, you
Mm.
know, and who could. I was kind of looking for the natural born storytellers.
Yeah.
You know, like I had an idea in my head, and I knew the story,
Mhm.
and it was just a case of getting people to say it,
Right.
if
okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was kind of editing it as I was going, and like, yeah, you
Mm.
said that. Yeah,
Mm.
I remember
Mm.
that bit. And then it was a case of just putting it together. Really difficult to have to cut people,
Yeah, right.
you know, but
Yeah.
I couldn't include everyone, you
Mm.
know.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how much kind of coverage you shot and had to edit away down to get to the obviously feature length.
So I think it was 48 people. I'm going to say, this mightn't be right, but I want to say 1,100 minutes of footage. Does that work out about right?
Yeah, well, that's about...
It's a shitload.
Yeah, 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 my brain's gone dead, but is that about 20 hours? No, I don't know, 20 hours? 20 hours, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 20 hours.
All I know is it took me 6 months to edit it.
Wow,
I
okay.
locked myself away.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. How do you always fascinate? And by the way, it had a beautiful kind of pacing and flow to it. Really was like...
Thank you.
Yeah, because you get some documentaries sometimes that are too long, and they just carry on and carry. You think, okay, I didn't need all that. But yours, I thought the flow of it was great. Really, really beautiful. And it covered all the bases that you'd want, and didn't outstay its welcome, which is great because that's down to your editing. How do you go about kind of stitching all that? Because I'm always fascinated with this with documentaries. I just imagine everyone has a wall of post-it notes and sticky notes, and you just think, okay, that there. Is that how you do it?
How did I do it? See, I started it 3.5 years
Yeah,
ago,
okay.
and I'm trying to
Yeah.
think how did I think I probably spent
Mm-hmm.
a year researching,
Mm.
and then it was just a case of knowing, all right, this is Neil's life.
Mm.
And then really there were 3 clear sections, well 4 really. It was like Neil as a youngster,
Yeah.
Neil playing basketball,
Yeah.
Neil with his film and TV
Yeah.
acting career, and then the 4th bit came about by accident, which was the whole reflection
Yeah.
part, that sort of final act.
Yeah.
That was never really part of the plan.
Okay.
It was a week before I was going to America, which had been postponed twice before.
Right. Because of COVID?
Because of COVID,
Yeah.
yeah. Literally borders shut. So it was a week, and before we were due to go out, and I just had this idea of getting Neil's mum to record a little video.
Mm.
It's probably over a pint, you know,
Yeah.
all the like fairly decent ideas come about after a beer. And I just thought, you know, hopefully what it's going to show is that it's got Neil's family's approval, but then also just maybe tap into people here a little bit, and, you know, this is a life story. What you've met Neil, what do you remember most about him and why? And yeah, hopefully that honesty came through.
Definitely. Genuine is what I would use to describe the film. Yeah. Really beautiful reflections of obviously a very special man, I think. Yeah. Both, you know, as a sports person, but also just as a human being, I think. Yeah. Let's talk about now what you've got coming up next. So obviously you're talking about Better Than Neville, you know. Are you going to keep the same title for the feature or call it something different? Just out of interest. I'm not, you know,
maybe,
I'm just wondering how you
maybe just
between
Neville.
the two.
Maybe,
Neville, okay, yeah.
Maybe the Neville, you know.
Yeah. Also works. Yeah,
if we did a sequel, taking it to another Neville. Just
like
thought of that.
I like that. You've been thinking about that, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah. So apart from that, is there anything else you've written or you're thinking about writing soon?
I'd love to get distribution on Big Smooth. That is my ultimate goal at the minute. But yeah, we're working. We've taken on a book, which is another local story from Sunderland, and it's about a young boy and a family from Sunderland who had a very rough upbringing. And I don't know if you're a football fan, but his paths crossed with the football manager Brian Clough.
Okay. I'm already interested.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The book's called Be Good, Love Brian. It's done very well.
Okay.
And it's about basically Brian taking this young lad Craig and his brother on, essentially like adopting them, you know.
Right, okay.
He lived with Brian and the Cloughs for about 10 years.
Okay, I think I've heard of this. Yeah,
Have you?
Yeah. I seem to remember this being brought up before. With the same kind of age as Nigel Clough, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
yeah, I've heard. Yeah.
So we've got an application in with the BFI at the minute.
Okay.
For some development. So that's the next biggie.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, what a character! I mean,
Amazing.
they don't get any bigger characters than Brian Clough.
Yeah, amazing.
So Big Smooth. Okay. So have you started trying to get it distributed? What's your plan for that?
So again, I've got somebody helping me out with that. We've got a pitch deck that we're pulling together on that. And what's great about screenings like today, it all goes in the pitch deck. You know, selected here, selected there. We had a screening over in Massachusetts. Okay. That was last year. I'm going back out in August to Cape Cod. They're going to put another screening on over there. So it all just, all these screenings, like, it just adds sort of weight to the pitch deck that we can then present to distributors. So we're compiling a list at the minute of potentials. Obviously, you know, it's quite a unique story because you've got the sports element, and you've got the film and TV element. It's a life story as well. So we're just sort of going through lists at the minute to try and find the right one. I don't really like just
blindly.
You know, you know, I think it's got to be right.
Nominated for Best Documentary here this year as well at the film festival, so that can go in as well. Yeah, absolutely buzzing about that. Great stuff. Well, Paul, thank you so much for joining us, submitting your film and all the other films you've submitted to us in the past. And we wish you the best of luck with both of these films, Better Than Neville, You Know, and Big Smooth. Thank you so much, Paul. Can I have a round of applause, please, for Paul?